Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back, my dear students, in today's English lesson. What are we going to do in this lesson? Let's check. Today we have writing and a project. But before we start, let's check at the previous homework. What were you asked to do and what did you do about it? So you were asked to use the following idioms in sentences. You were asked to use fit in, look forward to, and make a bite. So let's take a look at the first example here. Fit in. So here's the example. She fits in her class. Everyone is her age. So it's about a girl. She's fitting in the class because everyone is her age, right? So this is the meaning of fit in. That means she belongs with this team. Now how about look forward to? Look forward to. So the example here, I look forward to my graduation day. This is something that will happen in the future. I'm thinking about it with pleasure. I look forward to my graduation day. Now how about make a bite? I can make myself a bite. I can make a sandwich. So we said that make a bite means, what is the meaning of make a bite? Doesn't mean I will bite myself, right? So it means that I can make a snack. So make a bite means I can make a snack. So let's take a look. What are the objectives of today's lesson? What are we going to do? So by the end of this lesson, you will be able to write about a typical day, and we want to write 3 verses like a chant. In the previous lesson, we took a look at this. Do you remember the man's typical day? It wasn't really a good day. It was a bad day. But I did highlight some things in here. Let's take a look. Just to remind you, I'm going to play the audio for you, listen to the chant, and try to find the idioms.
I wake up in the morning and I crawl out of bed. I don't feel like moving, got a whole day ahead. I grab a cup of coffee and make myself a bite. My head is aching, didn't sleep all night. It's just another working day, nothing in this job to look forward to. I want to get away from the strife. I've got to do something good with my life.
Now let's take a look. Here we have crawl out of bed. It's an idiom. What is the meaning of this idiom? It means waking up slowly and getting up from the bed slowly because the man was lazy, right? Now, what is the meaning of grab? Grab a cup of coffee. So he's holding a cup of coffee firmly and quickly. So what about the word aching? The man said, my head is aching. So he feels what? He feels pain in his head. So my head is aching, that means his head, he feels pain in his head. How about this word, look forward to? The man was saying that in this job, nothing to look forward to. So he wasn't really happy about his job. So he doesn't look forward to. That means in his job, he's not thinking about the future with pleasure. So he's thinking about the future, but he's not happy about it. Now, how about this part here? Now, let's listen and remember this just to remind you with the chant.
The boss calls me in.
You're not doing your share. You don't fit in. And you don't seem to care. Get your act together. I've had enough. Just one more chance, or you'll be laid off.
It's 6 o'clock and it's time to go home. Shut the laptop down and hang up the phone. I rush to the station and stand on the train. Tomorrow at 8, I'll be back again.
Now, what is the meaning of not doing your share? That means you're not being a good part of the team. You're not doing the things that you're supposed to do. So what do we call this? It's an idiom. Now, how about the word fit in? Fit in. So you don't fit in. That means you're not being a good part in the team. You're not a part of this team. Now, how about get your act together? So what is the meaning of get your act together? You have to do a better job. So get your act together, it means you have to do a better job. How about this one? You'll be laid off. That means you will be fired or you will lose your job. Now, here we have the word rush. So the man said, I rushed to the station. So I rushed to the station. The meaning of the word rush, is he going to the station slowly or quickly? He's rushing to the station. He's going quickly to the station because he wants to catch the train, right? Now, after looking at this man's typical day, what do you think about his day? Was it a good day? Was it a bad day? So it looks like usually the man is having a difficult day, a bad day, because he can't sleep at night. So he must go to the doctor to check this problem. Now, let's take a look. So what was this man's day like? Look at this picture. What do you think? He's working and he's tired. He's putting his head on the desk. He have got a coffee in one hand, but his head is still on the table. The laptop is open, but he can't work. So he's not doing his share. Now, we have a writing text. So in your own words, write about a typical day in the life of the man from the chant. Now, we listened to the chant and we did take a look at some of the things that were happening in the man's life, right? So what are we going to do? We will write in our own words about the typical day in his life. Now, how can we start? Let's follow these steps. So number one, I want you to write his daily activities. Let's list the activities and then we're going to try to put them together in a paragraph. And then gather the information in sentences and then we will read proof the paragraph. So we are going to check, did we make a mistake? If we did make a mistake, we can check it and we can correct it. So these are the 3 steps that we are going to follow. Write his daily activities, gather the information in sentences in the paragraph, and then read proof your paragraph. Let's take a look. So we're writing here, we're listing some of the activities. I did write 5 sentences here. Let's check here. He wakes up in the morning. He wakes up in the morning. This is the first thing that in a typical day in that man's life. He makes food for himself. Or what was the idiom for make food for himself? Make a bite. He tries to work with his team, but he's not doing his share, right? He tries to improve his work. So his boss said, get your act together, do a better job. And then here we have, he does it all over again. It's 6 o'clock. Now he's closing his laptop, hanging up the phone, and rushing to the station. So at 8 in the morning, he can be at work again. So he's repeating this day over and over and over. So this is what a typical day in his life looked like. Now, after writing these sentences, let's try to put them together in this paragraph. So here we have, so we did write this paragraph about a typical day in this man's life. Let's check. So it looks like he's having a really bad day. But let's read this paragraph, and it's not a chant. It doesn't have verses like the verses in the chant with rhyming words and verses. It's sentences together. These are sentences together. Now, let's read together here and see what did we do. This is what a typical day in a man's life looks like. He wakes up in the morning tired because he doesn't sleep well at night. Then he makes a bite to eat. He goes to work and tries to work with his team. He tries to work although he is tired. He does it all over again the next day. So this is what a typical day in his life. So these are the activities. We listed the activities and we did put these sentences together, and the last part was read proof. If we have some mistakes or we missed a full stop, a comma or something, we can correct it. So now, do you remember the 3 steps? If you want to write something like this, collect the ideas and then try to put them together and read proof to correct any mistakes. Now, this was a bad day of this man's day was bad. Now, let's try to change it into something positive. So what do you think it's going to look like if the man had a good day, not a bad day? Now let's read this paragraph and change some of the things in this man's typical day. Now let's read. Here we have, he wakes up in the morning, he likes working with his team. He usually checks on his friends and tries to help them when they need. Now all of these are good things, right? So he likes working with his team. That means he's doing his share. Unlike the previous text, he wasn't doing his share. But in this one, we did change it to make it good. So he likes working with his team. He usually checks on his friends. So he usually. Now, do you remember what is usually? We talked about usually before. It's an adverb of frequency. So he usually checks on his friends and tries to help them when they need. So when he's helping them when they need, that means they will help him when he needs, right? Now let's take a look at he likes working. So what do we call working here? He likes working. So working, it's a verb plus ing, but here it's a gerund, right? Do you remember when we talked about gerunds? It's like an object. He likes working. What does he like? Working. It's answering the question of what? So these are good things. So now I want you to think, if this was a typical day in this man's life, will he look forward to his job, or he will or there will be nothing to look forward in his job? So it looks like he's going to be happy about it. He will like this day because this day sounds good, right? It doesn't sound like a bad day. It sounds like a good day. Now, for your project, what are you going to do? Think about what you do every day. Write 2 or 3 verses like the chant about a typical day in your life. Include a course. Now, in here, so what is the difference between a verse or a poem or a chant and a regular paragraph or regular text? Do you remember when we talked about the rhyming words? So it could have rhyming words and verses. So just like some of the rhyming words that were in the chant, like home and phone, train, again, and what else? Bed and ahead. So all of these are rhyming words. We can find rhyming words to help us to write verses. Now let's take a look at just one activity of someone here and check these idioms. Now, for a note, I want you to try, and you can include idioms or rhyming words. So let's check some of the words here. We have nouns, verbs, idioms. We can use all of these words that we learned in the previous units. So for nouns, let's take a look. We have brain power, network, we have opportunity, pressure, share, sign, strife. Now for verbs, we have admire, attend, attract, compete, crawl out of bed. So crawl out of bed, it's not only a verb, but an idiom too. Encourage, grab, hang up, rush, wake up. Now, how about the idioms we took a look at? We did take a look at in the chant. We have do one's share, do your part. Look forward to, think about the future with pleasure. Fit in, and we have make oneself a bite, make a snack. Get one's act, do a better job. So get your act together, do a better job, right? Now you can use any of these words and try to make to write two or three verses about a typical day. Now let's see. Let's take a look at this picture. We have a picture of kids playing, right? Some children are running outside and they're having fun. Now, it could be a typical day in my life or a typical day in their life. So let's read the title. The title here is A Typical Day in My Life. Now, we have the verse here. Let's read it together. I get up in the morning. I went outside to run. I am playing with my friends. I'm having a lot of fun. Now, where are the rhyming words here? So we have these verses. We have the word run and fun. Run and fun are rhyming words. So what do you think about this typical day? Does it sound good or bad? So it sounds good. They are having fun and they can play and share games together. Now, what did we do in today's lesson? So we wrote about a typical day, and we wrote 3 verses like a chant, or we did write some verses like the chant. And writing the verses, we did use some rhyming words. And about the typical day, do you remember the 3 steps we used? Listed the activities, and then we gathered the information in paragraph and prove the paragraph to correct it if there's any mistakes. Now, what are you going to do for your homework? You are going to write a chant of 3 verses, like before, about your typical day. Try to write about things that you do in a typical day, something you keep repeating. So let's see here. I want you to write 3 verses. What could you do in a typical day? What are some of the activities? Can you find some rhyming words to write these verses? So in the next lesson, we are going to check an example of a typical day in verses, like the chant. And I will see you, my dear students, in the next lesson.